Welcome back to Revelations Within. I'm Mystic and I'm grateful you're here. Last week in episode 1, Spirit asked us to come home, to remember the love within us that fear tried to erase, to ground ourselves in our truth, to root ourselves in peace. This week, we rise from the soil, not rushed, not forced, but forged. In individualized spirituality, we often use the term mask, and for context, I'll break it down. A mask is the identity we create to survive environments not built for our truth. It's the voice we adopt to avoid conflict, the smiles we force when our spirit is tired, the role we play because the world told us our authentic selves was too much to deal with or not enough. Masks form from expectations, trauma, judgment, survival, and so much more. We often call it code switching. We learned early that being ourselves can be risky. Being real can be risky. So we cover our pain with perfection, we cover our boundaries with compliance, and we cover our fears with performance. The mask. This mask protects, but it also limits. Spiritually, we can only go so far in something that was never meant to breathe with us. So removing the mask isn't about exposure, it's about freedom. It's choosing to let your truth and purpose speak without apology. The spiritual journey calls us to remember who we were before the world told us who to be. That's the work. That's the revelation. So during this episode, we are going to cover the strength mask. We were taught that strength means silence, that vulnerability was weakness, and that to cry is to crumble. For Black women, strength became a costume we had to wear just to survive the day. For Black men, emotion became a threat, not to their heart, but to their safety. So we buried our feelings deep in the body, deep in the sacral, deep in the dark. But what was buried is not dead. It is waiting for acknowledgement. It is waiting for release. You are not strong because you never break. You're strong because you feel and keep going anyway. Many of us didn't learn to wear a mask on accident. We were trained into them. American-led Christianity taught us early that our worth depended on performance. Be quiet, be perfect, be small, be obedient. Anything less risks condemnation. The church became the place where you had to hide the parts of yourself that were too honest, too emotional, too rooted in culture, too connected to spirit in ways that didn't fit the doctrine. So we masked our true selves, not just to survive the world, but to be considered worthy of God. The damage runs deep because this system didn't just question our behaviors, it questioned our being, our joy, our intuition, our culture, our connection to the divine that existed long before the Bible even touched our hands. Our ancestors knew God intimately. They prayed through drums, through dance, through breath, through the stars, through nature, and through each other. Those sacred ways were labeled demonic. Our spiritual identity was recoded into shame. This wasn't random, it was intentional. A colonized theology told us our ancestors were to be feared, not honored. The sky could no longer guide us, our spiritual gifts were curses, and our power was a problem. And this goal was simple. If you can separate a people from their source, you can control their future. We forgot that we didn't need a middleman to reach God. We forgot that spirit already lived within us. We forgot that the divine speaks in our language too. This is where the mask has become a cage. We surrender authenticity for acceptance. We confuse silence with holiness. We call spiritual suppression faith, which leads into the next revelation. What happens when faith is used to gaslight our pain, our history, and our identity? Because the moment a belief system convinces you that your suffering is your fault, the mask tightens and the healing stops. See, religion told many of us, your suffering is holy. Just keep forgiving. Turn the other cheek. That's how oppression dressed itself, as spirituality. But the spirit of truth does not ask you to endure abuse to prove devotion. God is not glorified by your exhaustion. Your pain is not proof of faith. Your suffering is not worship. Smyrna's message wasn't to be silent in suffering. It was, I see what they are doing to you, and I will restore what was taken. This is not blind submission. This is divine recognition. See, the thing with me is I refuse to believe that we were put on this earth, just to suffer, just to work hard, just to die exhausted while watching our oppressors steal our creativity, profit from our brilliance, force our labor, weaponize our bodies, and diminish our minds. The fact that we as a people even endured this for centuries tells me one undeniable truth about us. The divine has been preparing a nation of dismissed souls to rise. Our ancestors are not just history. They are here, right now, guiding us, warning us, and cheering for us every step we take towards liberation. They survived the impossible so we can live the unimaginable. We are the answered prayers of those who refuse to break. Think about it. You survived what generations were never meant to survive. Not because you were built for suffering, but because you were built for resurrection. Your endurance is not a burden. It is proof of divine resilience. Black women, your softness is sacred. Black men, your sensitivity is wisdom. You are not here to earn worthiness. You were born with a crown. Revelation 2:10 tells us to be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life. The crown isn't a reward for suffering. It is the right to live fully after surviving. Once we recognize the mask and confront the systems that taught us to hide, a powerful truth starts to surface. We were never meant to beg for what already belonged to us. The crown of life is not something we earn by shrinking. It isn't a prize handed out by institutions that fear our power. It has always been our birthright, a spiritual inheritance sealed into our DNA before our first breath. The world told us to worship externally so we would forget the kingdom within. The world told us God was distant so we wouldn't notice the divine living in our own chest. The moment we turn inward, the spell breaks. Because tapping into your true self is tapping into God. Reclaiming your identity is reclaiming your crown. Honoring your ancestors is restoring your lineage to its throne. No mask, no middleman, no permission slip. Just truth awakening inside the temple of your own body. The crown of life has been awaiting patiently for us to remember. You are already chosen. You are already equipped. You are already royalty. This segment isn't about striving anymore. It's about returning. Returning to your power, returning to your purpose, and returning to the crown you were born with. I want you to know that your story isn't over at survival. That was just the prologue. You are allowed to feel joy without apologizing. You are allowed to have peace without proving that you deserve it. Your emotions are not a threat. They are a homecoming. Your pleasure is not sinful. It's sacred. Your creativity is not rebellion. It's remembrance. Every time you choose joy, your ancestors exhale. Every time you stand in softness, you break another chain. I know we dug deep today, so let's ground our energy before closing. I want you to place your hand below your navel. Breathe in slowly and release even slower. Whisper, I deserve to feel. I deserve to heal. My emotions are divine. I am not my pain. I am my becoming. You are safe now, and your spirit is safe here. Repeat after me. I do not have to earn rest. My trauma is not my truth. My endurance is my anointing. My joy is my liberation. My softness is my crown. Thank you for spending this sacred time with me on Revelations Within. Tune in next Monday for episode 3. And if you enjoy my content, please check out my meditations on YouTube and follow me on TikTok at Divinely Guided by Mystic. Until next time, stay grounded, stay aligned, stay sovereign, and stay divinely guided. I want you to remember that the revelation was never outside of you. It was always within. Y'all have a good one.